The Black Death, Europe's nightmare. In the year 1347, strange ships arrived at the ports of Europe. They carried valuable goods from distant lands, but hidden within them was something far more deadly. Unseen by the people unloading cargo, rats scurried through the ships, carrying fleas infected with a deadly bacterium. Within months, a catastrophe unlike anything Europe had ever experienced began to unfold. This was the Black Death. A pandemic so devastating that it would kill tens of millions of people, destroy entire communities, reshape societies, and leave scars that would last for centuries. To understand the horror of the Black Death, we must first travel back to medieval Europe. Life in the 14th century was already difficult. Most people lived in small villages. Cities were crowded and dirty. Sewage often flowed through streets. Clean water was limited, and disease was a constant threat. People had little understanding of medicine. They did not know about bacteria or viruses. Many illnesses were blamed on bad air, divine punishment, or supernatural forces. At the same time, trade routes connected Europe to Asia and the Middle East. Merchants traveled thousands of miles carrying spices, silk, precious metals, and countless other goods. These routes also carried disease. Historians believe the plague originated in Central Asia. From there, it spread westward through trade networks. Mongol expansion and increased commerce helped the disease travel across vast distances. One famous story describes the siege of Kaffa in 1346. As Mongol forces besieged the city, plague broke out among their troops. Some accounts claim infected corpses were hurled over the city walls, spreading disease among defenders. Whether entirely accurate or not, the event illustrates how quickly the plague was moving across regions. By 1347, merchant ships brought the disease to Sicily. Europe's nightmare had begun. At first, victims experienced fever, headaches, weakness, and chills. Soon, painful swellings called buboes appeared, usually in the neck, groin, or armpits. These swellings could grow to the size of eggs or even apples. Dark patches appeared on the skin as internal bleeding occurred. Many victims died within days. Others suffered a slower, agonizing death. Entire households became infected. Families watched loved ones perish one after another. Fear spread faster than the disease itself. No one understood what was happening. Doctors tried everything they could imagine. Some prescribed bloodletting. Others recommended herbal remedies. People carried flowers to block what they believed was poisoned air. None of it worked. The plague continued its relentless advance. From Italy, it spread into France, then Spain, then England, then Germany, then Scandinavia. Eventually, nearly every corner of Europe was affected. Cities became centers of devastation. In some places, death was so common that church bells rang constantly. Gravediggers could not keep up. Mass graves became necessary. Entire neighborhoods fell silent. In many towns, businesses closed because owners had died. Fields were abandoned because farmers were gone. Food shortages became common. Trade collapsed. Fear ruled daily life. Some people fled infected cities, hoping to escape the plague. Often they unknowingly carried the disease with them, spreading it even farther. Others locked themselves inside their homes. Many turned to religion. People gathered in churches seeking answers. Some believed the plague was punishment from God. Others searched desperately for someone to blame. Minority communities, particularly Jewish populations in parts of Europe, were falsely accused of causing the plague. These accusations led to violence, persecution, and massacres. The tragedy of the Black Death was not limited to disease alone. Fear often brought out the worst in humanity, yet it also revealed extraordinary courage. Doctors continued treating patients despite overwhelming risks. Priests cared for the dying. Neighbors helped one another when entire families were wiped out. Acts of kindness existed even amid unimaginable suffering. The mortality rate was staggering. Modern estimates suggest that between 1/3 and 1/2 of Europe's population may have died. Some regions lost even more. Entire villages disappeared from maps forever. Historians estimate that tens of millions perished across Europe, Asia, and North Africa. The scale of death was almost impossible to comprehend. Imagine every second person in your town suddenly gone. That was the reality many communities faced. The social consequences were enormous. With so many workers dead, labor became scarce. Surviving workers found themselves in greater demand. Many could demand higher wages. Landowners struggled to find laborers. Traditional systems that had governed medieval society began to weaken. The balance of power slowly shifted. Some historians argue that the Black Death helped accelerate the decline of feudalism. The economy began to change. Opportunities emerged for survivors. While the plague caused devastation, it also transformed Europe in ways that would shape future centuries. Religious institutions faced challenges as well. Many people questioned why prayers had not stopped the disease. Some clergy died in huge numbers while caring for the sick. Faith remained important, but trust in established authorities was shaken. Art and literature reflected the new reality. Themes of death became common. Paintings showed skeletons leading people to their graves. Writers explored mortality and human fragility. The plague left a permanent mark on Europe's culture. Even after the worst years passed, the disease did not disappear. Outbreaks continued to return for centuries. Cities lived in constant fear of another wave. Each new outbreak reopened old wounds. One of the most famous later epidemics was the Great Plague of London in 1665. Although smaller than the Black Death, it reminded Europeans that plague remained a deadly threat. The true cause of the Black Death would remain unknown for centuries. It was not until the development of modern science that researchers identified the bacterium responsible. Today, scientists know that the disease was caused by Yersinia pestis. The bacterium often spread through fleas living on rats. When infected fleas bit humans, the disease could pass into the bloodstream. Knowledge that medieval people never possessed eventually revealed the mystery behind the catastrophe. Modern medicine has dramatically reduced the threat of plague. Cases still occur in some parts of the world, but antibiotics can usually treat the disease effectively when diagnosed early. The terror that gripped medieval Europe is no longer a daily reality, yet the lessons remain relevant. The Black Death demonstrated how interconnected societies can spread disease rapidly. It showed how fear can create panic and misinformation. It revealed both the strengths and weaknesses of human communities under extreme pressure. Most importantly, it reminds us how vulnerable civilizations can be. A microscopic organism changed the course of history. It altered economies. It transformed societies. It influenced politics, religion, culture, and daily life. Few events have had such a profound impact on the world. The Black Death was more than a disease. It was one of the greatest disasters in human history. A catastrophe that reshaped Europe forever. And for those who lived through it, it truly was a nightmare without end.